Hey guys, this is Wrestle Bits, and we're back with another week of WWE SmackDown and Raw. And let's get into what I thought about everything going on this week. And starting out, we had the opening segment between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, with Seth Rollins respectfully coming out and talking about his match against Cody Rhodes at Backlash that's coming up. And there was respect there between Rollins and Cody, but of course Cody, being who Cody is, wanted to upstage Seth Rollins, showing the crowd that he is the quote-unquote better person in the ring. Obviously not, but I digress. We talk about Seth Rollins and how amazing he is as an in-ring competitor and deserves the respect that he should get without Cody Rhodes stepping all over his segment where he had brought Cody Rhodes out in the first place. So with that, Seth Rollins was bringing out Cody Rhodes to tell him that he didn't have any time to prepare, which we all know that. He did not know who his opponent was. Without knowing the style of the wrestler and who you're up against, it makes it much, much more difficult to structure a plan of attack on your opponent. So he dared Rhodes that he wouldn't have been if he was in the same situation, that he would lose. And he told him that he would give him an unknown opponent if he would take the challenge, which Cody accepted the challenge, of course, because it's all about Cody. And in Cody's mind, Cody is the greatest. Cody is the best. Cody is better than all, which will never benefit Cody Rhodes if he keeps going headfirst into all these obstacles, not like Seth Rollins, who would evaluate the situation and ready himself for whatever challenge that he is ready to take. Cody Rhodes is going to be as headstrong as ever, and that might be his downfall in the end. But that was the segment between Cody and Rollins, and I'd love to see these two have more matches together. It would be awesome to see them, but this isn't the last we heard of them because, like I said, Cody Rhodes would take on a competitor of Rollins' choosing now that he's chosen to take up the challenge to face whomever Rollins chooses, and that would happen later in the night, because after that was Naomi and Sasha Banks versus Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley for the titles. I didn't think this was going to happen now. I thought this was a Backlash thing. In fact, I think I was saying it was going to be at Backlash. I was wrong. They had that match on Monday night, and they lost. Ripley and Morgan lost that match, and after that match, Ripley attacked Morgan, as she should. I mean, Morgan has been the one who has failed most of the time when trying to get the titles or trying to win. Ripley is now on for herself. She's decided, I'm going to go off. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm strong. I'm a tough competitor. I'll be able to do it on my own. And I think this is a good turn for Ripley. You know, sometimes in some of these tag teams, one can hold down the other. Now, I'm not saying that Morgan cannot defend herself. She showed that she could beat Sasha Banks on a few Raws ago or last Raw. So she has done her own thing, but in the end, Rhea Ripley may just be too tough to cage into one of these tag teams, because when you do that, you have to work off your partner. Your partner has to work off you. And if it's not working, Ripley, you did the right thing. You cut off Morgan. She's going to go on and do I don't know what. Maybe she's going to go for the title, the women's title, as she could. She's brutal enough, so we'll see what goes on from there. But now I believe they are completely broken up, unless there's any apologies from that time, but I don't see that happening. So Sasha Banks and Naomi are still our women's champion. After that, going into Backlash, they are going to be the champions. And we now move on to the segment where we had Sonya Deville talking about Bianca Belair, and that she was coming to the ring to address accusations that, you know, how she's been misusing her power, or so people say, but she has stated, just like before, that she's first and foremost a competitor. Yes, she is in the backstage. She is one of the officials, but she's a competitor as well. I see nothing wrong with this. I see no problem here. She is a competitor. She is also an official, but that changes nothing. If there is an opportunity, you must take it, and she saw an opportunity. She's at the top for a reason, so she used that power, not misused, but she is using her power to an extent. There's an opportunity that presented itself, and this is the competitor she wants to face. It's not like she's done it before. She's ready now. So she wants to take on Bianca Belair, and I want to see that go through. But Bianca did come out, and she was going to hit Deville with her finisher, but then she threatened that she was going to fine and strip her of her title, which is accurate. Because even though she said she'd face her there and then, an official also knows, as an official, that they should wait till the time of the match when it is right. And if she had hit her with the finisher, she wouldn't have been fresh as the opponent that she needs to be going in to Backlash. So, Sonya Deville made the right call to say you're going to get fined and stripped of your title. Not saying that she was going to take it. That is a full misuse of power. This looks like just a regular official doing official things and being a competitor. She's stepping in the role of being the competitor and being the official, and I'm totally behind it. But we'll see how this feud works out, working up, because it seems like it's going to be a good one. Bianca Belair has been known to be a fierce, fighting, competitive competitor, and that is why Sonya Deville is keeping herself fresh and ready for the fight when that happens. Now we have Veer Mahaan, who took on Jeff Brooks, and he destroyed him. Just like everyone that's put in front of Veer Mahaan, he will destroy anybody in his path. That's what we're seeing. First it was little Dominic twice. At least Ray didn't have to be there to see it, because Dominic is stepping into the sport. It's going to happen. He's going to get destroyed by people. He's going to have to take on people twice his size. That's what happened in that situation, and now it's happening again with Jeff Brooks. He came in the ring to face Veer Mahaan, and Veer Mahaan just destroyed him. Put him in that side neck lock. I'm not sure what they call it, but he put him in that, and that was it. He was done. Veer Mahaan wins over Jeff Brooks, destroys him, will destroy anybody. People should either get out of his way or know that if they get in his way, they're going to pay dearly. So now we move on to the KO show with Ezekiel versus Chad Gable is what the match was supposed to be. Kevin Owens had said that, yeah, this is going to be your match. But first, we're going to put you in a lie detector test, because this has gone on long enough. Kevin Owens has told us about this. We know it. I know it. You know it. This is not Ezekiel, as he calls it. This is Elias. I mean, Kevin Owens has come with scientific facts basing on the fact that he is Elias, but he continually comes out and lies and lies and lies. Kevin Owens has no other option but to bring out the lie detector test. Now, they did start it up, asking him some yes and no questions just to get a base reading. Kevin Owens immediately, with his sharp Hawkeye-like eye, noticed that he had said a lie, but it was okay because it was getting a baseline reading for what a lie looked like. But he's ready. He's like a tiger on the meal. He's ready to attack if he needs to. He's ready to call out any lies that come out of Ezekiel's mouth. So he called them out, but it hadn't started yet. So then he started up. He said to continue. As always, he told the crowd to shush, but the audience would not quiet down. It's important in this procedure, and that may be the reason why this whole lie detector test was inaccurate, I'm going to say, because the audience was quite loud. They were interfering. We'll get on in that later, but because what happened was they were asking him if he is in fact Elias. He said no. The reader said he wasn't lying, but we know he's lying. There's ways around it, breathing and exercising that you can do, and certain things. But I digress. Let's just focus on this. So he answered him all right, quote unquote, all right. Then Kevin Owens told Ezekiel that he needs to leave the ring. Ezekiel says, or what? Kevin Owens once again leaves the ring, being the gentleman that he is. He walked away, but Gable attacked Ezekiel, and that set up their match. This Ezekiel guy, Ezekiel, he was able to overpower Gable, despite Gable's impressive arsenal of moves, and not that it was needed, although Gable clearly could have had it. Despite what it looked like, Gable can always come out on top. Otis ran to the ring and attacked Ezekiel. He clearly was upset about the lies that he was hearing as well, so he came out and attacked Ezekiel, with his partner being in there because it was an opportunity. But nonetheless, Ezekiel won, but via disqualification because of Otis running in, but he may have been emotional, whatnot. So that's how that match went. We're going to forgive Otis. We're going to move on. It's a win for Ezekiel. There it is. Then we had the RKBro versus the Street Profits. Now in this one, this was a good match. These two put together. They wanted to show that they could beat the champions. I had them in a non-title match. A lot of back and forths in this one, and some good lockups and some good sequences overall. And it seemed pretty good. Neither one was outing the other one, beating the other one up exceptionally. But then the Usos hit, and RK-Bro were distracted by the Usos' music coming out, because the Usos do pose a dangerous threat. You should be worried about the Usos. When you hear that music, you know they're coming, and that's bad news. So RK-Bro, being scared as they were when the Usos' music hit, were distracted, and Ford took advantage of that and knocked Randy Orton off the apron, and the Street Profits hit their move on Riddle and pinned him for the win. 1, 2, 3. Street Profits won it. The Street Profits won it. And as for the Usos, well, it looks like the Profits had played the Usos' music to get the distraction to win, and I got to give it to the Street Profits. That's how you do it. That's how you one up the competition. You do what you need to take what you have to. The Usos are learning this, and it looks like the Profits have taken a page out of the Usos' book, even using the Usos' music, so that way they could get the win and secure their win over RK-Bro. Good job, Street Profits. They pulled it off. They're looking good. Going in the Backlash, we got Randy Orton, Matt Riddle. We got the Usos going up against each other, and Riddle and Orton are on the losing end right now to the ones that the Usos beat. Not looking good, RK-Bro. Not looking good. But this is going to be a fun match overall, and I want to see how that goes come Backlash. We're going to see a lot of these really awesome matches coming up. Next, we had Theory versus Finn Balor for the U.S. title. And in that match, was a really good match. In that match, something happened. He hit the... Theory had hit his move on Balor on the outside of the ring, and it tweaked his neck. So his neck was hurting him through the whole thing. So Theory really got him at that middle point of that match. So for the rest of the match, Finn Balor, he does a lot of high flying, high quick movement, and his neck was messed up. So he hurt himself every time he did a move. He went to go do his finisher, which delayed him because it hurt his neck. When he hurt his neck, he got the finisher from Theory, who won, beat Finn Balor 1, 2, 3 to the ring, clean pin, our new champion, Theory. We're all happy. Everybody was happy. People were coming out from the back to the ring to hold up Theory. And who else came out but the glorious Vince McMahon to come congratulate Theory, as Theory took pictures with McMahon, as you should. And Theory and McMahon standing, raising that belt high. We have our new champion, our future champion, possibly ongoing champion, Theory. With Vince McMahon behind the wheel, pushing Theory. We know what Vince can do when he pushes a superstar to the top. We've seen it done time and time again. And Theory might just be the one taking the top for a long time. Then we had a crazy segment of the double wedding with Tozawa and Tamina and Reggie and Dana Brooke, and everybody's getting married, I think. Everybody in the ring. I don't know what the heck was going on, but it was all led by R-Truth, who was doing the whole ceremony. Things got crazy. Partners got shifted around, whatnot. In the end, it was all about that 24/7 title, as was known, especially by R-Truth, that this was all about the title. So finally, what we had is when the whole ceremony was finished, they were supposed to kiss. Reggie pinned Brooke, who he was a partner with, to win the title. Then Tamina super kicked him. Then she has the title. But then there was Tozawa kind of went under all these skirts or whatnot and rolled Tamina up for the win, which would leave Tozawa as the champion. But then Brooke was able to win it back from Tozawa, and then she rode R-Truth, basically rode on his back into the sunset, but into the back stage area rather. And so Brooke is now our 24/7 champion. What a crazy segment. I have no idea. It's crazy out there, especially with R-Truth. You never know what's going to happen. So that was a crazy segment right there. Then we had a match that was promised to us from the beginning. Seth Rollins was going to pick the opponent. That's what Cody wanted. So here comes Cody, and he's waiting for his opponent like Seth Rollins was waiting for his. It's like deja vu, and an opposing opponent that you don't know you're ready for will come out. And out comes Kevin Owens. Now, I know in a dark match that was on the internet, Kevin Owens and Cody had met before, but this is on different terms. This one, Kevin Owens wanted to beat Cody Rhodes as a favor for Seth Rollins. I believe, him and Seth know each other, and Seth Rollins, he knows that Kevin Owens is the man, is the main guy, ex-champion. If anybody could do it, Kevin Owens could do it. So he picked Kevin Owens, and I would have picked Kevin Owens. I mean, other than Veer Mahaan, but he's kind of new, and he's proven his point. He's making his way up. But, maybe a Jinder Mahal. But he picked Kevin Owens, and that is a good pick in my book. Probably the first one I would have picked as well. But that was a good match. They were really having some high spots and some back and forths on there. It looked like Kevin Owens was even maybe going to win. I don't know. I always see Kevin Owens winning. He may have fallen out to the outside, but that's always a strategy for him. The reason I mentioned going out to the outside is because during that match, after they were having that match, he fell to the outside and it was counting out. And Cody Rhodes is waiting for him. And Seth Rollins tells Kevin Owens, get your ass back in there. And he's like, no, this is your fight, not mine. I'm not going in. You deal with it. So it was a count out. Kevin Owens walked away. That makes Rhodes the winner. And, that upset Seth Rollins, but you can understand. Kevin Owens is volatile. He's angry. And if he doesn't have something to prove, though, he won't go all the way at it he actually gave Cody Rhodes some slack, because if he pulled out the full Kevin Owens, I don't think Cody would make it to Backlash in one piece. So I'm grateful that Kevin Owens kept them together in one piece. But that did get Seth Rollins upset. So he attacked Cody Rhodes as he was celebrating, knocking him out to the outside. And that was the end of the night. This is leading into even more with Seth Rollins and Cody, which I have no problems with. But Cody, you need to be careful, because when you get a fully primed Seth Rollins ready for you, ready to beat you, you might not come out on top so much. And then what are you going to do with your ego, Cody? You're going to go down. You're going to be pinned. And Seth Rollins may be the one who's standing over you. So you have to be careful. Careful going in, Cody. Careful from Seth Rollins. Do not underestimate Seth Rollins. He plays mind games, and he knows where yours is at. But that was the end of the Raw for Monday, April 18th, 2022. Now we move on to SmackDown, April 22nd, 2022. And this SmackDown was beautiful, actually. I am enjoying SmackDown, maybe even a little bit more than Raw, minus the fact that there is no Kevin Owens on that show. That gives it a big negative. But nonetheless, we have plenty of awesome superstars. Roman Reigns being one of them. The Usos being another one. Plus, we're having some crossovers, which I'll get into here in a minute. But at first, they started the Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey signing the contract for WrestleMania Backlash. So this is the Backlash of WrestleMania. And in the ring, Rousey wanted some pinpoints on what the match, I Quit match, what are the rules? The I Quit match, which Gulak was getting set up, but Charlotte Flair rightfully quieted him, because this is just time to make the contract. And Charlotte Flair can explain everything for herself. Being the champion that she is, she was explaining to Ronda Rousey what it means in the I Quit match. Ronda Rousey keeps riding in on this theory that Charlotte Flair tapped out, when Charlotte Flair has continually stuck to the same story, and being a professional knows what happened in that ring, and said she was adjusting her bra, and as we know, she was having wardrobe malfunctions that night, so it would be absolutely normal that she would be fixing her bra. She was having problems. I don't know why anybody doesn't see that she was just having problems with her top and adjusting her top. But nonetheless, we had her explain everything to Ronda Rousey. That I Quit means that I quit, and she will have Ronda Rousey quit to figure 4, maybe figure 8. I don't know, maybe a big boot, or maybe just a good old-fashioned beating. Ronda keeps saying about the whole I Quit thing, and that there will be no ref to quote-unquote save her, even though she didn't need one. Actually, she could have used one to help her see that Charlotte didn't tap out. But nonetheless, again, I digress. I'm going off. Ronda Rousey is saying that she's going to win this one. She's going to make Charlotte say, I quit. Charlotte, understandably, was upset about this whole thing, having signed, and Ronda Rousey not signing. She got frustrated. She flipped the table over. She was attacking Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was beating her with a kendo stick that she had initially hit Ronda Rousey with. I mean, it's Ronda Rousey, so you gotta keep her down somehow. So she was using kendo stick, but then Ronda got a hold of the kendo stick, started hitting her very violently, I would say, and Charlotte rightfully rolled out of the ring to gain her composure. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Drew Gulak pulled the kendo stick away from Ronda Rousey, trying to get her back on business. We're doing a signing here, okay? Sign the paper. But Gulak got what he deserved from saying things about Charlotte Flair as well. But he may have learned his lesson trying to stop Ronda Rousey this time. And for his troubles of just trying to stop an attack, he got put in the arm lock from Ronda Rousey. as she was signing the contract. Thankfully, she signed the contract at least, but she signed it. So we have an I Quit match between Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, and that's going to be a great match because finally Flair could show she didn't tap out. She never said I quit, but Ronda will. Ronda will quit. She will tap. She will quit to Charlotte Flair, one way or another. After that, we had Xavier Woods. Now, Butch has been quite upset about his loss. He's been attacking the New Day. He wants to show his brutality. And quite frankly, I think the club that they have together have been holding Butch back a little bit. I mean, there are rules and stuff, but I think Butch released, let go, just let to his own devices, maybe just run maniacal over to WWE and fight anyone he can. He's out to prove something. And he went up against Xavier Woods, and Xavier Woods was able to pull his finisher and put him in a pin afterward, a roll-up pin, which is nice. That was a nice finisher. However, Butch lost, unfortunately, and he was upset, understandably. I mean, he's really trying to prove a point, and he didn't quite get it across this time. I believe Butch will get his win when he unleashes his full strength, anger. Right now, he's channeling it, but maybe just not strategically channeling it, but he's gaining that knowledge in the ring every time he fights. These are not losses. These are moments to improve, and he will improve. He's vicious. He just needs to understand the in-ring ability of other particular superstars. But once he does, I think he will come out with his win. Butch will come out on top. I can feel it. So we also had Gunther, who squashed in his match. It was just an impressive show of Gunther. I did call it a squash, but it was only a squash because of Gunther's impressive arsenal and very offensive maneuvers that he has towards his opponents. He is a presence in the ring, very strong presence, and I like seeing him. I enjoy seeing him. I want to see more of that, where Gunther is going. He's proving himself. A lot of people proving themselves. When those collide, that's going to be dangerous, but he's rising right now to the occasion. And more competition, the better in my book. Then we had Riddle versus Jey Uso. And in this one, it was impressive. I always like seeing Riddle in the ring along with Randy Orton. The Usos, always amazing in the ring. One of the best, or the best tag team, longest reigning tag team. Apologize, Usos. Forgot to mention that. But nonetheless, as the match starts with Riddle and Jey Uso, this is a really nice match. A lot of reversals, a lot of intensity from Matt Riddle, which you could see in the match. Matt Riddle is very, very intense. He needs that intensity when he's coming up against the Usos, because the Usos always bring that level of intensity. It's good to see that Matt Riddle's willing to step up to the plate for the Usos, because it needs to happen. I want an amazing match, although the Usos may come out a little stronger and they have more motivation to win. But we will see in Backlash. But in this particular match, there was a lot of reversals, a lot of back and forths. Very, very nice match. But then, as Jey was put down, Jimmy came up to the ring to check on Jey, of course. And Matt Riddle gets distracted, goes to attack Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso comes off of the ropes. You know, he's clearly like, okay, this Matt Riddle guy, he's very angry. I'm checking on my brother. I want to make sure he's okay. And then here comes Loose Cannon, Randy Orton, to attack Jimmy, knock him down, clearly worrying his brother, Jey, inside. Because in the ring, what was happening was reversals after reversals. And when Jey went to go hit off the top rope, he was reversed by Matt Riddle for the pin, and he won. And I'm thinking, Randy Orton is really allowed to get involved a lot with Matt Riddle's matches, whereas the Usos, they just work together. A lot of mind tricks, but nothing so physical. Randy Orton, he's emotional, he's angry, he's unstable, and that's a scary combination. But all that instability between the two of them might become volatile. When it comes down to winning a match, you need to be mentally there. You need to be mentally prepared. And the Usos have this naturally. They were born together. They were raised together. They fought together. They cried together. They do everything together. It's almost like they can read each other's mind in the ring. So all that anger, let's hope it works out, because the Usos, amazing presence of mind when it comes to being in the ring. So that is something that they're going to need to watch out for. Going into Backlash, next we had a promo by Sasha and Naomi talking about them being the tag team champions and how they work together so well. Then out comes Shayna Baszler and somebody who we haven't seen in a while, who just showed up last week, Natalya. And they are setting up to go for the tag team champions. Now, that's a dangerous combination. Natalya and Shayna Baszler, that's a dangerous combo. So it looks like that's the opponents that are set up for Backlash. It's going to be Shayna Baszler and Natalya versus Naomi and Sasha Banks. Then we head backstage and we see Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin talking again, since Baron Corbin rightfully released Madcap Moss from his side because he was making everything about him, everything about Madcap Moss. And once again we see backstage Baron Corbin being the bigger man and willing to forgive Madcap Moss for all his shenanigans that he's been pulling off. And what does he get for that? In return for Baron Corbin being the bigger man, stepping up and stopping the feud by forgiving Madcap Moss for everything he did, Madcap Moss makes a joke about Baron Corbin's hair. There's as much chance as us getting back together and being your sidekick as there is you growing a full head of hair. Now that was a low blow. And here he is, Madcap Moss, just ha. Laugh it up, Madcap. All right, his mentoring, Baron Corbin's mentoring, has been helping you get your wins. You got Humberto Carrillo last week, so you were able to pull that off, and it clearly was rubbing off things that Baron Corbin had shown you, and you actually should be thanking him. But instead, you laugh in his face. Baron Corbin walks away. Madcap Moss laughing it up. Ha. Okay, Madcap. All right, but he has his next match with Angel, and he beat Humberto last week. Now it's Angel this week, and he did beat him. He beat Angel for the win, had overpowered him, and Madcap Moss did win that match. All right, but clearly, like he said before, Baron Corbin has been rubbing off on him. So Baron Corbin comes out after Madcap's win, and he takes the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy, and he took off with it. He's gone. And you know why he did this? To show Madcap Moss that he's really not deserving of it. That Baron Corbin should be the one who has this memorial trophy, because he showed Madcap Moss the way. He's basically the Obi-Wan Kenobi teaching the Luke Skywalker, or the Anakin Skywalker. Actually, is more like the Anakin Skywalker, because he showed him the way, and now here's Madcap Moss thinking he's all arrogant and thinking he can rule everything. He wants to be the Vader, but it's not going to happen. I don't know if that's a good metaphor for all that or not. But I feel like it's a traitorous thing to do, to laugh and spit in the face of your old mentor, to make fun of him, and to make everything about yourself when it's about him. You're supposed to be pushing Baron Corbin forward, and yet you were holding him back. So now he's holding back your, quote unquote, your Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In my mind, in my eyes, and I'm sure everybody else's eyes, that's even in more deserving hands now than it was before. So Baron Corbin stole the trophy. And you know what? Maybe he's teaching him another lesson. That you have to prove that you really could take this from the guy who showed you everything. You know, Baron Corbin, he is a natural helper. He can't help it. A good guy all around. Madcap Moss, never bite the hand that feeds you. Then finally, we end the night with Drew Macintyre versus Sami Zayn in this absurd, crazy lumberjack match that they're putting Sami Zayn in. This isn't fair to Sami Zayn. Drew McIntyre is a very powerful wrestler, and Sami Zayn has strategical in-ring ability, but the way he fights is much different. And what they're doing is pushing Sami Zayn, into a situation that's not under his control. And that's just not the way he wrestles. He wrestles strategically, he learns his opponent, and then he takes advantage when he needs to. Now, speaking of taking advantage, earlier in the night, Sami Zayn had talked to Roman Reigns, said he acknowledged him, and if they wanted to take out any punishment on RKBro, that would be their opportunity, and they would help each other. And Sami Zayn, he knows where the power lies, and he did the right thing by talking to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns gave the Usos his name to go out there in his name. So that's what they did. The Usos did come out that night. Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. We didn't know what the Usos were going to do. We didn't know if Roman Reigns was going to have the Usos do anything at all. We didn't know. But Sami Zayn was put in a situation nonetheless where he had to work again with his mind, his intellect, his in-ring smartness. He had to work out a situation, so he did what he had to do. Within this match now, although Drew McIntyre is a powerful force in the ring, and it looked like he was destroying Sami Zayn is very smart on his own terms. Now, he did try to leave the ring, which is his strategy. And then he would come back in and do what he needed to do to Drew McIntyre. But in this situation, he was pushed in forcefully to a power fight with this madman, mind you, Drew McIntyre, who again comes to the ring with a sword in his hand, a weapon. Having a weapon in a wrestling match, in a match in general, that's just dangerous. Again, he comes out very dangerous. He doesn't know if he's going to use that sword. What if he gets pushed in and he decides to use his sword on Sami Zayn and then starts attacking everyone? This is a dangerous situation. If it was Sami Zayn who was holding that sword, everybody would get on him. All the officials would get on him and take that sword away. Why? Because Drew McIntyre is a good person? How do we know how good he is? He's been attacking people violently. They put him in unpredictable situations. He doesn't let the other opponent wrestle the way he wants to. He gets his way every time. I don't understand why they keep giving everything to Drew McIntyre. Okay. But I'm getting upset. Because when I see somebody being attacked, I don't like it. And Sami Zayn, he's just defending himself. He's also frightened by the guy holding a sword. I think we all would be. We're wrestling, not sword fighting. Anyway, I digress more. The match is going on. Now, the Usos did do what they were put out to do. They put respect on the name of Roman Reigns, and they attacked the RKBro. As Roman Reigns was very upset by their loss, they wanted to get some of that back. So they attacked RKBro. All out brawl, amidst all the confusion. Drew McIntyre was once again going to take advantage and attack Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn escaped They keep saying that he's running and it's cowardice. It's not cowardice. This is strategy. He needs to keep himself ready for the backlash, for the ultimate fight, because they're just going to keep throwing him into a situation. He needs to keep himself safe so he escapes out of the ring from a madman, a prison that they built for Sami Zayn. Unfair prison, mind you. This is Sami Zayn. This isn't some nobody. This isn't somebody off the street. This is Sami Zayn, and they're treating him like this. This is a star. This is somebody who put up with a match that Drew Macintyre would be destroyed in. That jackass match that happened when he was put in the mouse trap and all those crazy devices. Drew Macintyre wouldn't know what to do with that, with his sword. He'd probably just stab everyone, wouldn't he? Yeah, he's crazy. But Sami Zayn dealt with it like he should, and he's been humiliated ever since then, even though he defended himself properly and he's done everything right. But it's okay, because Sami Zayn escaped this night, but oh no, they come out and the official instead puts a stipulation for a cage match at Backlash where he can't run away. That's a prison. That's a sentence. There's nothing Sami Zayn did other than fulfill what he was supposed to do at WrestleMania and try to fight a madman, because it was the next person that came out. Who knew Drew McIntyre was going to come out of there? But he was willing to take up the fight anyway. But he has to be able to do it on his own terms. Monstrous, sword-wielding madman is now in a cage with Sami Zayn. What's Sami Zayn going to do? He can't leave. He can't use any of his strategic maneuvers to win. He's trapped with a brutal, sword-wielding individual. I don't know. We'll see at Backlash what happens in that cage match. I'm sure Sami Zayn has got something worked out. He always got a plan. Sami Zayn, come on, leave him alone. Sami Zayn, leave him alone. Stop giving these stipulations. I hope he comes out on top and show them that he can deal with any of this, even the crazy madman with the sword. But that was the end of the SmackDown for this week of the 22nd of April, 2022. I like how all the stories are building up. I feel really bad for Sami Zayn. I know all you guys do. I know Ezekiel is lying. This Elias Ezekiel guy. We got a lot of matches being built up. We got Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair should come out on top again. Greatest women's champion. She'll come out on top, I'm sure of it. I Quit match. Mostly on her terms now. So Ronda Rousey can't cheat. Knock out any refs or anything like that. Anyway, what were your guys' thoughts on the shows? Both of them, SmackDown, Raw. What are your thoughts going on to Backlash? Who do you want to win? Who do you think is going to come out on top? How do you feel about Sami Zayn? I mean, come on. Drew McIntyre needs that sword taken away from him. Don't you think? I do. But anyway, that was this week, SmackDown and Raw of this week of April. Thanks for listening with Wrestle Bits, where you get your bits of wrestling information. You guys take care, and I'll be on next week. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe so you get notified when I come on live. Take care and stay safe, people.